Speaking of douches, uh, I've got some videos that are stand-up clips that have been doing
Okay.
big numbers
Good.
on YouTube lately. And
You getting bullies?
no, I don't
Okay.
think of them as bullies. I think of them as just people that, they want to say what they want to say, but I think they're really weird comments to do
Mm-hmm.
because they're making huge leaps. So these are people that, in one case, he is comparing my story about my son Jace coming out to this joke I have about the age of accountability for Mormon baptism.
Okay.
So
Wait.
How?
What?
How's
What's
he?
the joke?
the joke, so I talk about how Mormons, I go, more people don't think Mormons are Christians, and I'll get to that in a little bit, but they are, and they do baptism just like other, they do other things that Christians do, like baptism, and I go,
Right.
when do Catholics do baptism? And someone yells out, when they're babies. I'm like, yeah, you get the baby's hell a bit wet, that baby's good to go. And then I do some other jokes. The old version that I didn't put on my album Bam Bam was to be like, then if something terrible happens and that baby ends up in heaven, Jesus is like, hey, baby, is your head a little bit wet? No.
See ya.
Yeah, beat it. What's that, a Chinese baby? Get that out of here. That one was not baptized.
Yeah.
So but they're only seeing like a 60-second clip about Mormons. Just go, oh, Mormons, they say, oh, you don't baptize babies. Babies, they're innocent. You have to wait for the age of accountability. And they decided the age of accountability is 8 years old. And I say, because obviously by the time you're 8 years old,
you can make
you know
decisions.
enough about the world to
Right.
choose the eternal destination of your immortal soul.
What
At
were,
8.
what were
Your
you-
immortal
yeah.
skull.
Sounds sick.
What were you doing when you were 8?
Playing Pokemon.
I was shoving things in places.
Mm.
Now you got to move a little bit this way.
This way?
Yeah.
Sorry.
What were you shoving in what places?
I don't want to talk about it.
All right.
Age of accountability with the Mormons.
Were you playing peekaboo with yourself? Little object
Oh,
permanence.
was going where?
Uh-oh, something disappeared. Now it's here. Now it's not.
So, and then I give examples of, so I say like, your own body just started trusting you with teeth, but go ahead, get baptized. And there's
Right.
other stuff that goes into it. I give other examples of my interpretation of age of accountability, where I say, 8 years old, that's when you're allowed to choose to be baptized in the Mormon church. And then I give other examples like 16, you can drive a car because you're old. You can be accountable for and responsible enough to drive
Right.
the car. 21, you can drink. 18, you can join the army, that kind of stuff. And that's the kind of way I was looking at it. So one person replies and he says, you'll give a shit to the... Also, this is how it's written. You'll give a shit to the Mormons, but not people saying that children as young as 5 should have the ability to transition and get on hormone blockers. So that's what they're comparing my joke about my son transitioning, but they're jumping all over the place on this because the story about my son is that when he was in his teenage years, 12, 13 years old, so preteen, teen, he came out to me as transgender. And then over the years, he transitioned, and now he's 20, and he lives his life in his, what is it, confirmed gender, or the, affirmed gender? Yeah. Which is male.
Mm-hmm.
But I say in the joke, I met him, because he's my stepson, when he was 4 years old.
That would be surgery, I think. I don't think I was right.
Oh.
I think affirmed.
Well, he did get top surgery when he was 18.
Oh, okay.
So,
right.
but he, it was a whole process. And in the joke, I'm not talking about the whole process that he went through. I'm trying to get to a punchline.
Right.
And these people skip all over the place and pick out the stuff that triggers them and make it into that. So, I say when I met him, he was 4 years old, and he'd walk around the house without a shirt on saying, "What's up, everybody? My name's James. I'm a dude." And I go, "So, yeah, I'm not mad at you for telling me this. I was waiting on you.
Right.
Because I knew since the moment I met you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just saying, I'm being cheeky and showing support. I didn't meet him at 4 years old and go, "You're a boy."
Right.
Yeah, I can tell.
Right,
One
you're
day,
not the
yeah,
one.
I'm not the one. No,
You're
I'm
not the
just,
one
I'm making a
pushing that
silly
on them.
observation,
Yeah.
right? And so this guy thinks that because of that, he's jumping to the point where saying, "Oh, well, people put their kids on hormone blockers at 4 or 5 years old," and I'm like, I think that's like one. I've heard of that one instance where someone said that, but I've never actually.
You have to go through like therapy and stuff
Right, and
to even be able to at that age. No,
We went through and that's what they don't acknowledge is how much therapy my son had to go through to get to a point where he was even allowed to take anything.
Yeah.
It was 2 years before he got a single type of like hormone blocker, whatever they were.
Mm-hmm.
2 years.
Were you in these therapy sessions with him?
I was in some of them. Some of them were one-on-one, and some of them I was there for.
Well, yeah, I would say don't divulge
We got
too much.
We got wrapped up in a lot of my stuff. I would take him
Right.
over and be like, well, enough about him.
Right.
I'm trying to get my money's worth out of this. I want to learn some stuff about my stuff. Learn some stuff about myself. But no, he would. And here's the thing. He is a kid that if he does not want to do something, he is not going to do it. He never canceled an appointment. He never was late for an appointment. He was ready to go. And this is a kid that did not like talking to grownups and did not like going out of his comfort zone. And he pushed himself so far to get to the point, because what you realize is he wasn't pushing himself out of his comfort zone. He was actually heading towards it.
Right.
To be
exactly.
the person that he feels.
There's a reason why he didn't give up.
Right.
So, but I know this isn't really your story to tell, but
right, I'm just the one monetizing it.
Right.
I'm just trying to get rich off it, man.
Right.
I'm just trying to be the guy that everybody knows, like, hey,
I understand.
the trans people, I take care of them. I'll be the trans daddy.
Yeah,
Hey, that could be my pet name.
Trans daddy. Yes. It's
Please,
no
you
longer
are now
Giggle Kids.
trans
It's Trans Daddy.
I'm sure your
And
son
that-
will love that.
And that instantly became the best one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did.
But so your son came out to you as trans at what age?
He was 12 years old.
He was 12 years old.
Yeah, almost 13.
You and your wife's reaction was?
We were very accepting of it.
Okay. Was there any part of you that was just like, are you sure? Like,
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like, let's get you transitioned
Right.
immediately.
I'm
just
asking because I'm
yeah.
never going to be a parent.
Right.
Ever. And this is like.
That's great.
Yeah. Thank
Same.
you.
I think it's a great
I agree.
decision.
I
Yeah.
think it's a fantastic decision. I got there way before you guys did.
But think of all the peekaboo you're missing out on.
You are missing out
I'm
on so
missing
much
on a
fucking.
lot of
That's why
peekaboo.
you like it.
Yeah, that's why.
No,
Is because I want what I can't have.
and it's driving you mad.
And it's driving me mad.
Dismiss.
Right. Yes.
This is a great episode.
This is a
Yeah.
fantastic episode. So your son comes out to you at 12. Now
Yeah.
your son was assigned female at birth.
Right.
Did your son up until that point dress and talk and act like a female?
So as he got more into puberty, he got more masculine and would start dressing more masculine.
Okay.
So when he was, middle school, but there would always be, he'd always have his favorite shirts, and his favorite shirts were always superhero stuff, which is just, something that kids enjoy. So we talk about him walking around with a mustache and the shirt off saying, "What's up, my name's James." Dude, that was just cute stuff that he did when he was little. And we just thought it was funny. But then as he got older, it started going from like, oh, I like wearing superhero shirts to like, oh, I want to dress in superhero shirts all the time. And I remember my ex-wife being in a point where she was still trying to get him to dress a little more feminine. And I was just like, well, what if we just get him very neutral clothes? And she's like, that's actually a really good idea. So he started wearing like button downs and like flannels and stuff like that, which and then he grew his hair real long, but he kept it straight, and he wore lot of hats.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was presenting more masculine towards like 5th and 6th grade. And then at the end of 6th grade was when he told his sisters that he is a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
And they told us that, and we talked to him about it, and we're like, okay. He's like, yeah, I'm attracted to girls, you know, and that's, and I was like, okay. And then it was probably a few months later that he got his haircut from that really long, straight hair to a more boy-like haircut. And the way he got that haircut is his mom dropped him off, and it was our friend that was cutting the hair. So it wasn't like, you know, we're just leaving, you know, he was 12 years old. She dropped him off. I picked him up. And when I picked him up, I just said, if you ever want to live a certain way, all you got to do is tell me. And he heard me, and he was just kind of like, okay, he just heard it. Mm-hmm. And then a week later, he sends me a text message. Well, I'm at an open mic. And I think I talked about it immediately. But I don't just because like, oh, hey, that's like, I thought I was proud because he felt.
Did he tell you first, or
he told me first? He told me first of everyone. And that's the kind of relationship that we had over those years where I was, you know, coming into his life and becoming that father figure, then becoming his dad.
Yeah.
And so he said, hey, you know how you said that thing after I got my haircut, and I said, you wanting to transition to be a boy? And he said, yeah. I'm like, okay, we'll make it happen. Can I tell your mom? And he said, yeah. Well, I said, do you want to tell your mom? He's like, I'll tell her. And so he told her, and he asked, he's like, you're not mad at me. And I said, no, I would never be mad at you for being, and I, you know, in the joke I say, I've been waiting on you to ask. I said, no, I'd never be mad at you for being honest with me about who you are.
Right. Well, oh, you didn't actually say I was waiting on you the whole time?
No, I didn't say I was waiting on you, asshole. No, I was just.
What if you were wrong when you were guessing, though?
Wrong about?
About. No, when he asked you, he said, do you remember what you said? And then you said, you said, you're wanting to transition. What if you were wrong? What if it was something
else? Then he would have said, no, not that. This is about having Kevin come over.
Right. No, I think that just means he's a really good dad.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, 100%.
He was listening, and he had like a paternal instinct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I think that's what that means.
So then, you know, we started the process, and I was always very supportive. His mom took the wheel, and like I would go to appointments and do that stuff, but she did a lot of the scheduling and I did some of it too. We worked really great together as parents. We weren't great as a relationship towards the end, but as parents we're rock solid. Mm-hmm. And so we worked with Jason, an endocrinologist and a therapist, and we go to group therapy and like sit with, and that's where the joke, like the second part of that joke is
we should do a group therapy session.
I think this is one right now. And like that's where the second part of that joke is. I'm kind of excited about him getting testosterone injections because he isn't like getting shots, and I kind of want to stab him a little bit. Yeah. And like that crushed, like because it's like these families that are all going through it, and you see, and those were really interesting meetings to be a part of, because you see other people that are maybe having more trouble with it than, because I was fine with it. Mm-hmm. My mom or my ex-wife was fine with it. But you saw other people's moms and dads, like they were being supportive, but they had a lot more apprehension about it.
Yeah.
And that was the thing with Jace was
I'm going to be honest. I'm a little bummed that he didn't go with James.
Well, we named him.
Oh, you named?
We said, all right, you're gonna have a new name, but we're your parents, and parents pick when you're a baby.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we named him, and the way we surprised him with his name was, I think it's for his 16th birthday.
Mm-hmm. This is really freaking cute.
Yeah. This is adorable.
So there was
trans daddy for sure.
What? How did
you should be the trans daddy of all.
Yeah, you're like trans daddy of the year.
Yeah.
I don't remember. It wasn't that long, but because we always called him Jay anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember how long it was, but we officially changed his name on his birth certificate, and we presented that with him at one of his birthdays. I can't remember which year it was, but he opened. So I think he had his name before then. We went from Jay. We call him Jace, and that was the new name that we gave him, and he liked that. He got to pick his middle name, so. I'm not going to say that because I don't want to put too much of his business out there.
Yeah.
Because you can find him if you have more information. But he goes, when we got the name change, my ex-wife filled a box of balloons, or like a box with balloons, and then at the bottom was his new birth certificate with his name on it.
Oh, that's sweet.
And it was the best moment.
Aww.
Watching him open that and just like burst into tears. Then we're all just crying.
Aww.
It was crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Was his friends there and stuff?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And he's had a great support group. Like he's got great friends.
Who decided on Jace? Who picked that?
I don't remember exactly.
Oh, okay.
So probably her. Because if I could take credit,
I'd
be ready to. I'm the trans daddy.
Yeah, you're the trans daddy. That's right.
So
can we get jerseys?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be Peekaboo. You're Tommy Raindrops and trans daddy. The Bill Squire show with the trans daddy. Tommy Raindrops and Peekaboo.
So when they go in this direction and they say things like, "Oh, you'll give shit to Mormons, but you won't." I haven't run into people putting a 4 or 5 year old on hormone blockers.
Yeah,
and I don't think at that age you should be doing it.
I don't even.
But
think you can.
It's one of those things where they heard about someone doing it, or there's and that's what they always go to, because they might see a kid that's presenting more feminine or more male at a young age, and they just jump to these crazy conclusions, and then they always throw out like, "Oh well, there's a lot of people that transition and they want to kill themselves." I'm like, no, they want to kill themselves before they transition.
Right.
What they need is love and support, no matter what they go through, because it's a difficult thing to go through, and a lot of people push them in all these directions because they're trying to put what they feel on them instead of trying to understand what they're going through. And empathy is the most important thing going through this, because I have never been through what Jace has been through, but I do know the times when I feel I'm in a place where I'm not accepted, or I'm not in the right place, and I know how terrible that feels. And so when I imagine what he's feeling, it's got to be a nightmare to be in that place. Yeah. So I get into that empathetic headspace, and it just puts me okay, I want to do what's I think is, and he transformed, because he was in a very dark place before he came out. He was going through some really difficult things, and I don't want to get too into it.
No, that's fine.
But it's just, he was in a dark place, and it helped him move to a place where he was much more confident and much more open, and just he had light behind his eyes again.
Did you ever at any point go like, am I doing the right thing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You question it the whole time.
You obviously did do the right thing.
Yeah.
But like, did you and your wife and their mom go like, are we like fucking up, or should we like?
But that's also why we were in therapy sessions too.
Right.
Like, I had questions. I didn't know everything to do. I just knew I wanted my child to be happy.
Right.
And so there was, a lot. It was just about love and support and care, and that's what it was about. And so I learned a lot.
Yeah, that's what this show's about.
Yeah, it's love and support.